Welcome to The Explainer. We love to break down big ideas here. And today, we're getting into a really foundational story about human connection, unpacking the theological interpretation of the creation narrative in Genesis chapter 2, based on our source texts.
All right, so let's just jump right in. The story kicks off in a really interesting way. It's not about how perfect everything is. Nope. It starts by pointing out a problem, a fundamental flaw in the way things are: solitude. This one sentence really sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
So, this first part is all about what our source material calls the problem of solitude. And yeah, this isn't just a side note or a minor detail. It's actually the driving force behind the whole narrative, a search for the solution to this state of being incomplete. So, try to picture it, right? You've got this world that's buzzing with life, a perfect paradise, everything beautifully designed. And yet, for the very first human, something is just off. It's not complete. The source really hammers home this feeling of incompleteness right in the middle of all this perfection. Now, this is where it gets super interesting. The process that unfolds next is fascinating. The man is told to name all the animals. And you might think, okay, that's just a job, but it's way more than that. It's really an act of discovery. And as he goes through and observes every single living thing, he starts to realize something profound. And what does he realize? That out of every single creature on the planet, there's no one and nothing like him. He can't find a suitable partner. This whole search through the animal kingdom is such a powerful way to show just how alone he is. And it proves that the answer to his loneliness wasn't going to be found in the world as it was. It had to be something brand new. Okay, so that brings us to part 2, made from the man. We've got the problem. So what's the solution? Well, it's a unique and really symbolic act of creation, totally different from anything else that's happened. The story lays it out in 3 distinct steps. First, this deep sleep comes over the man. Then a rib is taken from his side, and from that very rib, the woman is formed. The source really makes a point of this. This method is one of a kind. She's the only creation made directly from another living being. And that rib, it's not just a random choice. There's some deep symbolism going on here. The whole idea of being taken from the side. It's meant to show she's an equal partner, someone who stands alongside him, not taken from the head to be ruled and not from the feet to be walked on. All right, and all of this builds to what is really the climax of the whole story. This incredible moment of recognition and a powerful statement of identity. So the second he sees the woman, this is what burst out of him. It's this raw, unfiltered reaction. It's more than just, oh, hello. It's like, finally, I see myself in you. It's the solution to his deep loneliness right there in front of him.
So what does this incredible outburst actually mean? Well, bone of my bones is all about a shared essence. She is his equal, made of the exact same stuff. She's not a subordinate. And being created from his side, that symbolizes an intimate partnership. And the poetry itself, it just captures this moment of pure, joyful recognition. Like he's saying, finally, you are like me.
Okay, but there's a phrase used to describe the woman that has, let's just say, caused a lot of confusion over the years. The text calls her a suitable helper. So let's break down what that actually means in the original language.
Exactly, because for a lot of us, when we hear the word helper, we might think of an assistant, right? Someone in a secondary role. But is that what the original Hebrew is getting at? Not even close.
The Hebrew term is ezer kenegdo. Now, ezer is fascinating because elsewhere in the text, it's used to describe a powerful rescuer. In fact, it's often used to describe God as Israel's helper or ally in battle. So we're talking about strength here, not weakness. And kenegdo means one who corresponds to or stands opposite him.
This shift in perspective is everything. The original meaning isn't an assistant, it's a corresponding partner. Not a subordinate, but an equal in every way. Not a follower, but a powerful ally who stands with him face to face.
Okay, so after all that, what's the big takeaway here? What's the message for us today? Well, the sources kind of distill this whole ancient story down into a really powerful principle for how we understand our connections. What's really interesting is how our source material puts the original design side by side with the challenges we often face today. You've got this ideal of inseparable unity and shared identity on one side, And then on the other, you've got things like bad communication and all these external pressures trying to pull people apart. And this all funnels down into one core concept, this principle of becoming one flesh. It's this amazing picture of two people merging into a single unified whole, which, really echoes that original shared substance we were just talking about.
So, wrapping it all up, the message from the sources is really a kind of guide. It's about being intentional. It's about remembering that shared origin, really acknowledging that deep connection, and actively working to nurture the unity that was the whole point from the very beginning.
So where does all this leave us? Well, this ancient blueprint isn't just a history lesson. It actually offers a path forward, a kind of practical call to action for us today. It really boils down to these three things. First, to really truly see the other person as being of the same essence, as bone of your bones. Second, to live that out by embracing an equal partnership, becoming that strong corresponding ally for each other. And finally, to actively and intentionally cherish one another, to work at restoring the love and respect that were part of the design from the very beginning.
Ultimately, this isn't just an ancient story. It's really a mirror being held up to our own relationships. If this blueprint of a mutual, equal, and cherishing partnership was the original intention, it challenges every single one of us to ask, what if we lost along the way, and what are we willing to rebuild?